Morning. Welcome to the California School Library Association Annual Conference. The theme for the conference is Connect, Inspire, Grow, and Repeat. Each day of the conference highlights a focus for the day's events to support each of you and your work supporting students in school libraries. Yesterday at the Administrative Leadership Day, thought leaders gathered in conversation as we began with the endless in mind, with each leader reflecting from their lens on learner-centered innovation for the benefit of today's students. Part of my story is inspired by the work of many that resulted in the Los Angeles Unified School District, UTLA Unified Strike efforts, where the community, through a shared unified message, resulted in action for equity, hiring more than Agree. Hiring more than 56 new teacher librarians, as well as the superintendent's commitment to our optimal library team of paraprofessional staffing as well during the next 2 years. And year 2 will be more equity across the district for students. The schools our students deserve. Each of you are encouraged to share your leadership through opportunities to support school libraries and each other in this mostly voluntary organization. You matter. A wide variety of professional growth opportunities await you to be both inspired and grow. For yesterday's Administrative Leadership Day to today's keynote speaker, Dr. Renee Hobbs, workshops, concurrent sessions, author panels, to our CYRM dinner featuring Pam Munoz-Ryan. You have so many opportunities for professional growth as a member. I would like to introduce the many people who work tirelessly and thank them for their dedication and commitment. Please stand and be recognized and remain standing. Our conference committee members. Yes? Our conference coordinator, Janice Gilmore-C, is in the back. Our exhibits coordinator, Mark Williams. Our administrative assistant, Catherine Shostat. And may I have our state board officers stand and remain standing. Our Southern Region Board. Our Northern Region Board. Other presenters, facilitators, and volunteers, anyone who is, has, or will be doing something for this conference, please stand and join us and be recognized. Look around you. We welcome you and your unique story and encourage you to be involved. Your ideas and concerns are needed to advance our profession and our organization. If you are a first-time attendee to the CSLA conference, please stand and be recognized. Woo! Thank you. And now join me in honoring our past presidents and honorary members. Please help me in recognizing this outstanding group of CSLA leaders. Thank you. organization is also supported by several sustaining members. Please stand and wave if you are in the room. Abdo Publishing, Capstone, Follett, Fresno Pacific University, Junior Library Guild, Mackin, Mrs. Nelson's, and Permabound. Thank you also to our conference award and scholarship sponsors, Scholastic Book Fairs, the California Teachers Association, Follett, Gale, Mackin, Permabound, ProQuest, and Teaching Books. Thank you. Joining some of us today are partners, the Executive Director of Computer Using Educators, Pam Gildersleeve Hernandez, and from the California Reading Association, Renee Holes. In addition, from DigCit Kids is Marilise Curran. And from EduMatch, Sarah Thomas. I don't know if he's arrived today, but we'd like to welcome him, our state librarian, Greg Lucas. And joining us later today for One Book, One Conference will be the LA Public Library City Librarian, John Szabo. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Glenn Warren, my assist, the Vice President of Government Relations, for a few words.
Yeah, since I'm the human clicker this morning, if you don't like the speed of the clicking, just say, move it, I'll do it. Hey, I'm very happy to announce a few things this morning that I think are going to be of great interest to you. Have you all heard of the California Department of Education? They're located, what's that city? Yeah, Sacramento. And they actually have a little bit of impact on education in the state of California. One of the developments that happened within the last year and a half is a piece of legislation that came out from lawmakers that said, you know, we demand that there is something done about media literacy in the state of California. What a great idea. We've been screaming about this for how long? Yeah, it's not news to us. Where's Ellie? Is she in here? She's been pushing for databases for the state of California for 20 years, and thank God we finally have them, right? But you know, let's not forget the loud people who've been irritating people for years. And she did it, and God bless her for that. But anyway, on the California Department of Education site, if you have not seen this, you need to go there, everybody. And it's a page there under curriculum resources. Isn't that funny? Under the area of teaching and learning. Isn't that a neat place to have this? Wow. Wow, what a great place to have it. And if you'll notice, I'm going to read it. It says, this collection of resources, including links to professional learning opportunities, was compiled in conjunction with, are you ready for this? The California School Library Association. Anybody heard of this organization? It's pretty good. And along with KQED, which is public television, in fulfillment of the requirements of a particular law that was passed by the previous governor, what was it, SB 830, to ensure that young adults are prepared with what? Do you guys know anything about that? No, okay. So with that said, there's a whole sort of free resources that are available for you. If you haven't been here, please go here. It'll tell you where to go. All right. Then, I just want to be clear. This is a monumental shift for California. We have never had free databases for our students. Well, every other state in the country has had this, and now for the first time, we finally have it. To treat this as no big deal That's a big deal. Well, I don't see how this has any bearing with my work. Oh, come on. It has everything to do with your work. And so these beta, you know what, just see Deb Ford and she will tell you where to go, okay? Okay, now with that said, also, I don't know if you're aware of this, but how many of you think people need to know more about the value and the importance of school libraries? How many of you think that's kind of important? Now look, there's an organization, are you ready for this, that we started 54 years ago. Who was here? 54 years ago, California School Library Association started the California Student Media Festival. We started it. And then 30 years ago, we said, we're done, which is sad. So most of us have no idea about this particular deal. Well, I'm happy to say that we are not only sponsors of the California Student Media Festival, the new director of the California Student Media Festival is me. So we can cheat. So what I'm suggesting, is this being recorded? Dang. That's a problem. All right, let's edit that out. What I'm saying is, when we talk about school libraries and their importance and how it impacts the love of learning and the love of coming to school and social emotional learning and literacy and all the stuff we talk about, please be looking for video or for media that supports this idea. If we've got from now till I think beginning of April for submissions, I would love nothing more than to have video coming from us that talks about how awesome the work we do is. So please, consider it, okay? I can see there's lukewarm applause for that. Fine, that's fine. That's okay, I get it. And then, this is the last thing I have to say to you. How many of you would like to go back with something you can say, you are so fortunate to have me at your school? Who would like that who would like to do that? Who would like to come back from this conference and say, you know how blessed you are to have me? Who would like to do that? Let's do a little practicing. Do that to the neighbor right now. Do that right now. And those of you who are not doing it, honest to God, loosen up. Honest to God, what's wrong with you? All right. So, a rep from anybody heard Nearpod? Now, if you think this is a pitch for Nearpod, well, it kind of is. But you need to listen carefully and put your judgment aside for a moment. How many of you have salespeople come to your school and talk to you from time to time? I do, of course. Well, I had a rep come to me from Nearpod. He said, hey, Nearpod's great. And I go, yeah, but we were out of money. And I said, if Nearpod really wanted to do something good, it would be amazing for a company like yours to offer free content only to school library media assistants and to teacher librarians exclusively in the state of California that have free lessons specifically connected to the model school library standards to be given to us to use at our schools, just for us. This poor rep walked out of my office going, I think I'm going to get fired. He went all the way up to the president of the organization and came back and said, Nearpod is going to do this for California. Not for a year, but ongoing. We're not going to sell safety to our children. So what you see up here is something you can come back with. Look at this. It says, empower California students to use technology safely and effectively. Nearpod and what's that organization? Have you heard of this organization? Has teamed up to provide what? Citizenship lessons for all California what? Now they don't know how to put, they mean school libraries. We're not talking public libraries, but we're talking school libraries. But I want you to take a look at what the page looks like. Look at this. It's for every grade level. Look at what underneath there, the standard from the model school library standards. So how many of you have ever tried to talk to your principal or your district about model school library standards? Well, now you can point them to it right here. So these are all free. How many of you think this would be kind of a cool thing to come back and say, hey, you can use this only because you have me? Now, Corey is going to be doing a session on Saturday at 2:45, I think, in what room? Riviera room. If you're interested in diving deeper into this, most of you can assemble a Kia furniture, so you don't need help. But my point is, if you really need help like I do, he can walk you through the whole thing. Corey, would you just stand up? I want people to recognize this guy who put his job at risk and scored. Now he's being promoted. Okay. Great. Anyway, I just want to say, let's keep letting people know that our work is summed up in one word: love. Learning opportunities that value everyone. Thank you. I think that's the keynote speaker. Yeah, this was awkward. Hey, we have a keynote speaker. Her name is Renee Hobbs. She's the director of the Media Education Lab. She's an author she's just an international expert in the area of media literacy, which we just were talking about, ironically. And she is kind of a thing, I mean, like, internationally. And we are incredibly blessed to have her here. So let's give an incredible amount of applause for Renee Hobbs. You want to hold?
Actually, I'd love the lavalier.
Lavalier, you got it. This is in no way awkward. Yeah, we'll get you hooked up.
Oh, okay.
Test, test. Test, test. Okay, go ahead and stick that on your
Thank
hair
you.
wrap. And you can put that where you want.
I got to put that somewhere.
While she's doing that, nobody look. All right, are we good? Okay.
I don't know. How does that work? That's pretty good, right? Oh, no, that sounds terrible. Never mind. I'll use that.
No, try it again. We may be just getting feedback from this. You sure? Okay, so you're back on.
Sounded great.
Okay.
You sounded great, Glenn.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
So,
Here, you keep this.
and I'll take
You
that.
take that? Okay, fine.
So thank you so much for inviting me to address you. Kathleen, Katie, Glenn, you have welcomed me into this community, and I feel very lucky to be here with you today and to be part of this community. Because something you might not know about me is that I am the daughter of a school librarian. And when I was 8 years old, my mother, who was a teacher at the Our Lady of Good Counsel Elementary School in Plymouth, Michigan, she said, we need a school library. And she went to the principal, and he said, well, if you can raise the money for it, then you can build it. And so my mom went to my dad and said, write a check. And she started talking it up, and pretty soon the parents ponied up the money, and pretty soon there was a school librarian in this elementary school. And my mom went on to be very active in the Michigan Catholic Librarians Association. Who knew? So today I am wearing her Phi Beta Kappa key because I feel my mom's love in this community of great school librarians. Thank you so much for the good work that you do. So today I'm going to be showcasing to you some of the ideas in my new book called The Library Screen Scene. And I just have to say, another reason why I'm so grateful for California educators and librarians is that I get this question from journalists and reporters once a week. Every week, pretty much, somebody calls me up and says, how many American learners get exposed to media and information literacy education? And I say, I don't know. We don't have really great data on that, but we can look to California. Because in this really cool study published by Joe Kahn and his colleagues at UC Riverside, they surveyed a representative sample of California young adults ages 15 to 23. And they asked them two questions. How often did you discuss, when you were in school, how often did you discuss how to tell if the information you find online is trustworthy? And how often did you discuss the importance of evaluating the evidence that backs up people's opinion? And 30% of California kids said they did that. So Malcolm Gladwell told us that 30% is the tipping point. So we are finally getting to the tipping point. And of course you can feel the momentum. Now, I wanted to make my slides that I'm using today and some other resources that I've been sharing here at CSLA available to you. So I'm going to show you how to do that now, get it over with, okay? So you might start by going to my website at the Media Education Lab. If you're curious about our signature program, the Summer Institute in Digital Literacy, Kathy Resnicek right there went last summer. If you scroll down, you can see her working hard. Working hard. And if you go to the Events tab, see the red circle there around the Events tab? Then you'll have to go all the way down here to Upcoming Events. Click on California School Library Association, and voila, you can download, use, repurpose, cut, paste, remix the slides. Okay, so let's get started. You know that literacy is changing in response to changes in technology and society. And you know that we share meaning through symbols that come in many forms. And that's not a new thing. That's been true since time immemorial. So anybody who thinks this is a new thing, well, let's just look at history, right? We've been sharing meaning through a variety of symbols for a long time. But today, I want to talk about just one of the many forms we use to share meaning: audiovisual media. Back in ancient history, school librarians were experts and masters of audiovisual media because it was the technology of the late 20th century. But it's a little bit more complicated today in a digital age. So one of the things that I did for this book is I tried to find all the school, public, and academic librarians who were doing stuff with film, who were doing stuff with video, and who were thinking about visual media in relation to their mission. I found 178 great examples and stories. I showcase them in the book. And it was, in fact, a beautiful labor of love and a great opportunity to meet people, which is why I do research. So today I want to share with you 5 practices that I found through that research process. They're familiar to you, of course, because in a way, you were the subjects of my inquiry. Today I'm going to demonstrate how the practices of viewing, learning, and creating help both learners and teachers use the power of visual media to empower and engage. But I'm also going to highlight 2 functions that school librarians do in particular to advance those pedagogical goals of learners, and that's collecting and connecting. Okay, so here my first question is for you. How have you used a YouTube video to learn how to do something? Open up your mobile phone or your laptop and go to www.slido.com. Type in the event code CSLA and answer the question. It'll be more fun if we use real data. www.slido.com, event code CSLA. You're answering the question, how have you used a YouTube video to learn how to do something? You just might put in one little example. I used YouTube. I used YouTube to fill in the blank. Whoa. So we now know that some of us are learning something about tarantulas, something about pet care. Type in your short answer and we'll see the word cloud that emerges. Whoa! Awesome! 106 of you have helped me understand that you've learned about shirts, flowers, formulas, headlights, faucets, cooking, headlights, screens, computers, dispensers, knitting. Wow! Hair! Wow, isn't that cool? Yeah, so we've used YouTube for a lot of learning. But now I have a question, and you can raise your hand if you can say yes to this question. How many of you have explored or helped students to use YouTube for learning? Look at that, wonderful. Yeah, learning to use YouTube for learning is something that most kids, sadly, have to learn on their own, through trial and error. But with a school librarian's help, they can learn further, faster. They can learn search strategies that really help them to learn. So, I want to talk a little bit about what we know about audiovisual media. When we look at public libraries, we know how important it is because 1/3 of the total public library circulation in the United States consists of audiovisual materials. But we live in a world where a curated collection is available to us at our fingertips through our streaming media. Netflix enables this highly personalized information, entertainment, and persuasive content. And my Netflix is not your Netflix, right? Because personalization algorithms mean that I see certain movies, certain TV shows, based on my choices, you see other things. The same is true with YouTube. Your YouTube is not my YouTube. Because algorithm personalization shapes the content that's placed in front of me. Learning about how algorithmic personalization curates content is a really important media literacy competency, and we need to do a better job of helping students understand that. But when we are thinking about film and media in the classroom, we all recognize how completely ubiquitous it is, right? It's 99%. 99% of educators say they use video as part of instruction at least 1 to 5 times a month. Unfortunately, we learned from writing the book that not all uses of film in the media in the classroom are really educationally sound. In fact, because I'm an academic, in 2006 I wrote an article about this practice. I called it the misuses of media in the classroom. But the editor didn't like the word misuses, so he made me change it. So the article's title is Non-Optimal Uses of Media in the Classroom. Isn't that like fancier? So much fancier, right? But the public librarians have a word for it. Over and over, the public librarians that we interviewed kept saying, oh yeah, film programs, screening and discussion programs, those are the easiest programs to implement. You just hit play and walk away. And they thought it was a good thing. And I thought, Well, that attitude that video is something that you can use as a break, as entertainment, in between, something you can just pop in and let the kids watch, is why we have this problem. Restrictive AV school policies. So as I read these aloud, if these apply in your school community, just keep your hand raised. We'll see which of these are issues for California school librarians. Blocking YouTube. Look around the room, ladies and gentlemen. Advance permission required from school administrators to use video. More hands go up. Rigid reliance on MPAA ratings. Don't show that PG-13 to an 11-year-old. Selection only from a list of permitted films established by administrators. More hands go up. Required parents to be notified before viewing video. More hands go up. Mandated that a graded assignment must accompany viewing. Whoa, okay, thank you so much for sharing the kinds of restrictive school AV policies that are in place in American public schools. Weirdly, in addition to those restrictive policies, we've got another set of challenges ahead of us in terms of format, right? Because half of the educators that responded to a survey said the DVD players are being phased out or have already been eliminated in their schools. And 54% of schools are either blocking or restricting access to personal streaming sites in classrooms. At the same time these changing formats pose challenges, students are experimenting and exploring with changing formats of their own. So now, let's take a look at the TikTok history craze. It's so cool. Just a little shout out. Who are my TikTok virgins who will be seeing a TikTok video for the first time today? All right, I'm so happy. I'm going to deflower the TikTok virgins. Check these out. They are, as you know, they are short looping videos. This one's called The Odyssey. Okay, how about this one? Natives minding their business. Thousands of European settlers. Okay, how about this one? Got it. So changing formats showcase qualities of performance and creativity. And that's why I'm so excited that you have resuscitated the California Student Media Festival, because student creativity is limitless, right? And students are itching to find ways to express and share themselves with their favorite media. Because we've got really good data that shows that a majority of students age 14 to 23 prefer learning from YouTube videos over other activities, including in-person group activities, learning apps, games, or reading from printed books. right? So some of you might go, oh no. But actually, oh yeah. So here are some of my favorite YouTubers. There's the vast, endless creativity of the booktubers, right? Who share their favorite books and offer ideas about what I should read, and they are really helpful to me because I can say, I want another book like Richard Powers' The Overstory, right? And they will supply it for me. Or how about this one, Clothes for Historical Trekking? In case you want your like medieval Renaissance look when you go out for a walk in the woods, this is what you should wear. Like, that's kind of cool. Or how about Captain Disillusion? He makes low-tech videos that show you how movie special effects are made. I had a 15-year-old show this to me as he learned about the history of film by watching Captain Disillusion. He knew a lot about the history of film special effects by watching his favorite YouTuber. And then, of course, this young woman, what to expect in nursing school. Each week, she posts a blog about what it's like her first year in nursing school. So if you're thinking about going to nursing school or you're in nursing school, you've got a friend, right? She can help you think through some of the challenges you're going to be facing. Now, most of us are kind of not tuned in to our students who are YouTubers, which is why I think every middle school, high school, and college or university needs to do an annual survey to find out who are your podcasters, who are your bloggers, who are your YouTubers. I was with a room full of academic librarians at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. Great school. They're doing a big initiative in digital literacy. But not one of the academic librarians at the university knew that one of their undergraduate students was a famous YouTuber, Nathan Zed. I've been watching Nathan Zed on YouTube since he was in high school. And when the police brutality issues erupted in 2016, he made some especially poignant videos about the way in which he's thinking about mortality as a result of that incredible crisis in our culture. Very powerful stuff. So we got to learn about our students' creative work. We can't pretend they're not doing it because they are. So it's obvious that viewing, learning, and creating is at the core of what we think about when we think about learning with and about media. But you also know, as school librarians, that your biggest users of film and video are your social studies teachers. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. I know I'm right. And in the book, we describe some of the challenges that school librarians have had, and academic librarians have had with their history teachers. So we know that using historical movies, historical dramas, is a great way to study film as a representation of history, and it's a great way to gain insight onto the social and cultural values of the time period in which the film was made, right? So look about how we talked about the colonial period, right? In Concord and Lexington. Look about how we talked about that in 1976 compared to how we made films about it in 1996 or in 2015. But sadly, history teachers are very keen on drawing attention to the historical inaccuracies in films, right? But the research suggests that this is not a great strategy, because the research shows that when a teacher draws attention to the historical errors in films, they actually reinforce the misinformation. The kid remembers the wrong information even better when the teacher points it out as wrong. Not good, right? Not good. So what we really want to emphasize is there's no such thing as an entirely accurate a historically accurate film. Why? Because the key concept of media literacy is all media messages are constructed, they're selective, and incomplete. So that's a big aha that we can help with social studies teachers. Now, I have a pair share activity for you because that's how we learn best. So if you're sitting by yourself, you need to find a person to talk to. We're discussing this question: what makes a screening a powerful learning experience, and what makes it a waste of time? You have 2 minutes, talk it over. Okay, we're going to be stopping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys are the best learners ever. Thank you so much for that. Okay, now if you will do a little synthesis, I'd be super grateful. Why don't you go back to Slido and just type in one insight that emerged from that conversation. Just one phrase or sentence in response to the question, what makes screening a powerful learning experience? Okay, so you'll keep typing. If you keep typing, I wonder how many of you referred to the idea that through screening you can access new information and ideas. Or how many of you acknowledged that through screening we can engage feelings and promote empathy. Or maybe you recognized how screening can promote dialogue and discussion. Or it's a great way to demonstrate a procedure. I kind of primed you for that. by putting that at the beginning of my talk. Maybe you recognized how screening can stimulate intellectual curiosity. Or maybe you recognized how valuable it was to appreciate the art of the moving image. So let's go take a look at some of the answers that you came up with. What makes screening a powerful learning experience? Wow, 198 of you. Superb. I'm going to download the whole list and put it on that website where I put my slides, because look at how powerful. You know all about how to make screenings a meaningful viewing experience. And if I could say, oh, I did something really wrong. Oh no, maybe not. Whew, thank God. If there was one thing, one action step that you took in response to this talk, is that you have to help the teachers in your building use the power of audiovisual media in those ways, in the ways that really promote learning. Because when educators don't have a clear and compelling purpose and goal, then viewing really is a waste of time. And there's really good research on how many educators don't have a clear and compelling goal. In the Netherlands, they did a survey of elementary and secondary teachers, and of course, they use video in the classroom too, but only 50% of those teachers could explain why they were using video. That means 50% of them could not, because they didn't have a clear and compelling purpose and goal. All right. Well, of course, I think that the media literacy smartphone is probably my greatest gift I can offer you today. So Kathy Resnicek and your partner, will you come and pass out the smartphones while I explain how they work? So this is a paper technology. It can't be bought in any store, right? Because it's really a metaphor for a set of thinking skills. Here's how it works. Notice that you can use the remote control with news media, websites, TV, movies, apps, podcasts, comics, books, music, social media, and video games. Press the reality check button, and instantly comes flooding into your consciousness the answer to the question, what is accurate and inaccurate about this message? Press the private gain or public good button, and instantly comes flooding into your consciousness the answer to the question, who's making money from this message? Press the what's left out button, and instantly comes flooding into your consciousness what's left out, because it's the best way to spot point of view. Press the values check button, and instantly comes flooding into your consciousness, how does this media message align with or contradict my values? Press the read between the lines button, and you instantly get the meaning that needs to be inferred from the text. We're teaching inference making K through 20, right? Reading between the lines to see what the author was really trying to say, even though they didn't say it in the little black squiggles with words and vocabulary. Imagine that stereotype alert button blinking in the presence of a stereotype. Or solutions too easy light blinking when information presented was just too simplified. I'm sorry. My apologies. And the record save for later button. When you think about it, in a world full of media and technology, deciding what's worth paying attention to is the greatest skill that we need. Now, yesterday, in my workshop called Mind Over Media, Critically Analyzing Propaganda, school librarians in the room here were given 15 minutes to create a 1-minute video where they applied one of the key concepts right, to a piece of propaganda. Let's take a look. The lesson was, lesson 6, when you demonstrate your ability to comment, critically analyze, and put propaganda in context by creating a short video response, you are using the power of image, language, and sound to convey important ideas. They used a very simple video production tool called Adobe Spark. They made a video under 1 minute in length. They had 15 minutes to complete this task. Let's take a look.
This video by Colgate encourages people to conserve water because we waste more water than many people have in a whole month. This appeals to our values, does a values check on us, because of course we care about others and the fact that they get good water as well, and makes us feel guilty for our behavior and our actions when we can do better. Now, it also is a solution that's too easy since, of course, conserving water here isn't going to help people in these other countries. However, of course, it is still a good idea for us to do that, and I'm not sure that guilt is a bad thing, so I think this one's beneficial.
Authors, digital authors, can you stand up and be recognized? Where are you? Who made that video? There she is. Oh, you are a rock star, my friend. Thank you so much for sharing that. Of course, I want everybody in this country to learn how to critically analyze propaganda, beneficial propaganda like that one, and less beneficial propaganda like the stuff we see all the time on our social media. That's why I created Mind Over Media, a crowdsourced online gallery with 2,500 examples of contemporary propaganda from around the world. I'm really, really interested in figuring out how to slow down how kids consume media, because my own students just go click, watch, and they're not thinking. So I use Video Ant to slow students down when they watch videos. Video Ant is created by the University of Minnesota. It lets me take any YouTube video, I pop it into Video Ant, and it creates a discussion board. And so I'll have a group of 5 or 10 or even 15 students watch the video. As they watch, pause, and comment. They watch, pause, and comment. It deepens the interpretive process. They start to recognize the points of view that are a message. They start to clarify their own thoughts and feelings about the video. I slow them down so that they engage in thinking, not just viewing. Of course, I'm also very keen on the author visit. Of course, I think of authors as including all different kinds of authors, including filmmakers. And so I was so thrilled when, years ago now, in my book, Discovering Media Literacy, a school in Philadelphia reached out to this young, unknown filmmaker named Barry Jenkins. And Barry Jenkins had made a bunch of short movies on YouTube and Vimeo. The teacher watched one of the short videos with her first grade students, and the kids made a little video asking the author some questions. The kids asked, why did you make the film? Did you make the film by yourself or with friends? The kids asked all kinds of questions to the author. She sent the video off, figuring, yeah. She thought the lesson was over, but then he sent them a film back. And then only 5 years later, he won the Pulitzer Prize. The Oscars. The Oscars, the other big award. So it turns out that authors love, you know this, authors love to face their audience. And let's just think of authorship as including YouTubers, including video makers. So now, you already know about the power of Flipgrid as a way to create a video discussion. You already know how to build making programs in libraries where you talk about books. You already are doing these awesome practices of helping students make media. But it's not always easy to figure out how to assess them. Am I wrong? It's hard to figure out how to assess media projects. So, I'm going to show you a short media project produced by a group of elementary school students with their teacher librarian. And I want you to see if you can guess. What inferences can you make about how the teacher librarian assessed the learning experience. It's almost like I'm asking you to watch the finished product and think, well, what was she aiming to accomplish with this project, right? What was her goal? Because she had to structure and scaffold this project. They are tiny little children. All right, let's take a look. This is your focus question for viewing.
Hello, this is a video about how to take care of cats and dogs. We hope you like this video. In order to take care of a pet, you need to feed it and give it water for it to live.
You need to feed it food and water for it to live.
Your pet daily. You should walk your cat or dog so they Cats need litter boxes so they can go to
Litter box for going to the bathroom.
Dogs need to go outside to go to the bathroom. Make sure the vet gives them an allergy collar. Make sure your cat or dog does not have fleas. Make sure their collar has home information on it. Make the pet feel welcome. You have to play with your pet a lot. Make sure you never leave your pet alone without something to
Okay, this goes on and on and on. This is a long, long video because they had a lot to say about it. I'm sorry I can't show it all to you, right? But if you think about it, it's pretty easy to see what the teacher was aiming for. Because she wasn't trying to solve all the problems of the universe, right? When we talk about digital media literacy and information literacy, it's overwhelming. Those are the competencies that we are charged with. That's why your AASL standards book is this big, right? There's a lot to be responsible for. She wasn't aiming to solve all the problems of the universe with this, but she wanted to accomplish 4 goals. Dialogue. She wanted students to share ideas and listen to each other in brainstorming. Creativity. She wanted them to generate novel ideas for depicting the how-to process. Collaboration. She wanted them to actively work in a production role in front of or behind the scenes. And citizenship. She wanted students to be able to explain the value of sharing knowledge with a target audience in order to benefit both animals and people. For these little first and second graders, the idea of the audience was those poor people who don't yet have a pet. What do they need to know? And so even the smallest child could imagine what that target audience might need to know. Now, one thing that's so amazing about school librarians is they are finding ways to not just share the power of viewing and help students create, but they're being creators themselves. So some of you may be familiar with the New Canaan, Connecticut High School Library YouTube channel with over 350 videos, how-to videos that help the high school students learn how to cite multimedia sources, scan a QR code into an iOS X, search Destiny, the online catalog. Here's an example of why they think it's so important. This is from Michelle Lutela.
At home wants to help me out and annotate this thing for my research paper.
Videos in the classroom make it into a flipped classroom, and the students can access these videos whenever they need them.
I use it to reference back to what we learned in class about how to start count, such on Noodle tools and stuff like that.
So video is a student's go-to place for tutorials. When they want to figure out how to do something, they go to YouTube and search, how do I? And that's how they figure out what they don't know. Teachers still resort to print, and so print might be better for them, but when you're trying to serve students, video is the way to go.
So the thing that's really important.
Okay, so Michelle Lutela is a rock star in my world for her creativity and finding ways to use YouTube videos as part of her school library program. Now, some of you I know are saying, oh my God, Renee, enough, 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 enough. Kids are watching too much screen media already, and part of the problem is too much, too much. And I will admit that I am very keen on thinking about audiovisual media and YouTube videos for how they can empower us, how they can harness the emotional power of media and build connections to others and activate intellectual curiosity. But I am also very sensitive to the risks and harms of a screen-based media world. I want to make sure students balance their media and technology use with other forms of play and learning. I'm really careful about figuring out how to help students learn how to guard against exposure to harmful content and developing coping and resilience strategies for handling problematic situations. So this is all part of the way we think about academics, we say, the dialectic between empowerment and protection, or the spiral that allows us to recognize how digital media and YouTube videos and multimedia empower us while we also need protection as well. So, I've shown you the 5 practices that are in the heart of the book, but there's something else I found that I want to alert your attention to. Librarians have this whacked out bias. And you know what? I feel like it's okay to own it. If it's true for you, it's true for you. But just realize it isn't true for everybody, right? And I don't think it's fair for librarians to impose their bias on the whole world. In fact, books and film and podcasts and infographics and slideshows are all ways we share meaning. And we should stop being so hierarchical about it. They're all different for all different reasons, and they all have value for different reasons. But here's the thing. We've got the 800-pound gorilla in the room, right? And if you're a parent or an educator, this would be a great place to figure out how you should decide what kinds of media your students or your children should use. But compared to reviews of print media, there are far fewer resources available to help teacher librarians select audiovisual content. You guys just don't write reviews of image-based media very much. And that's a pity because we need to do more knowledge sharing, right? About what the great stuff is. That's why we created, at the Providence Children's Film Festival, the Film Hub. You can go to the Providence Film Festival Hub and get study guides and information and even clicks to the video on the open internet for all these amazing children's films. And we need more like that. And we have to celebrate teacher librarians who share their practices using YouTube. There aren't that many who are really helping share their best practices online, but, well, Buffy Hamilton's been doing it since 2010. Here's the gem she laid on us recently. It's a preview of the Crap Test Rumble with musical chairs.
With musical chairs. Come join us as students evaluate 20 different information sources, all while jamming to the tunes as they move about the room. And when the music stops, wherever you land is the information source you evaluated. We have everything from journal articles and
So when teacher librarians share their practice, we all learn. Let me just conclude by asking you this question. How are your students viewing, learning, and creating at your school? How are you collecting and connecting to maximize the power of audiovisual media? And finally, what potential value and impact might such activities have for your school and community? Think about those questions as you are re-energized by this amazing conference. Kathleen, thanks for inviting me to participate today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Renee. Renee, on behalf of CSLA, I wanted to present you with a copy of our centennial history about the California School Library Association as our thanks. Thank you so much. We've been inspired with a conversation this morning about the library screen scene and what we can do when we go back to our school sites. Give us a second. I'm going to welcome to the stage. We're going to switch our technology and be joined by Renee Owsley Swank, past president, and Katie McNamara, president, for a special presentation.
Thank you. We are going to go ahead and get started while we're waiting for technology to come up. Just so you know, Katie and I actually kind of wrestled to see who got to present this award because we both love the award recipient. And so, Katie, you want to share?
About how you she's little, but you know what they say, she be little, but she be mighty. Ooh, so makeup is covering a lot of damage, but it was so worth it because of how much I adore our award recipient. So I will do so much for you once you have my heart.
Katie. All right, so this is for the Advocate for School Libraries Award, and it is to honor a person or group not currently employed in a school library who has advocated for school libraries within the past year. This year, the award goes to Deborah Lockwood, Library Supervisor at the Tulare County Office of Education. Deborah is being honored today for her work in leading the development of a local control accountability plan promotional flyer that can be shared with administrators, board members, and parents to advocate for funding in your local plan. While this award is honoring the LCAP project, we are really honoring Deborah's commitment and passion to support strong school libraries in every school, not just in her area, but for every single learner. I encourage you to read Deborah's bio on her Tulare County Office of Ed page. And thank you, Deborah, for your passion and commitment to advocating for school libraries. And please help me in welcoming Deborah Lockwood.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm truly humbled and honored to receive this award. When Renee called me, I was like, wait, what? What? Yeah. Because I know I'm standing in a room full of amazing people who do wonderful things every day, day in and day out for school libraries in California. I don't stand up here alone. I had a committee of very wonderful people who helped me create that LCAP flyer, and I just have to acknowledge them because I would be really remiss if I didn't. And that is Cindy Dunleavy and Jonathan Hunt from San Diego County Office of Education. Dr. Mary Ann Harlan from San Jose State University School of Information. Ryan Keller from Humboldt County Office of Education. Anna Lane from Glenn County Office of Education. Cindy Singleton from Siskiyou County Office of Ed. And of course, Renee Owsley Swank. And the team of us put together that LCAP flyer. I could not have done it on my own, without a doubt. So if you have not seen the flyer, it's beautiful. I'm very proud of the work that we did. You can find it at csla.net. And Renee, Jen, and I will also be doing a session tomorrow, so you're welcome to come and see that at 2:45. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Deborah. Joining us for a few announcements this morning is Janice Gilmore-C, our conference coordinator.
I love you too. Okay, today at 11:30, you may begin picking up your box lunch. If you walk past the registration table into the networking and commons, we will have your box lunches there. And you are free to take that box lunch anywhere you want. You may take it into any session you want to go to. So if you're going to go see the library and fashion show, take your lunch with you. Now, This morning we had birds of a feather during breakfast, and some people said, I don't want to eat breakfast, but I still want to meet birds of a feather. If you're that kind of person, you don't want to eat, but you want to get with your peeps, you can also use that networking on Commons to meet in the morning, and we have some breakout spaces in the area. So even if you're not going to eat breakfast, come up to that networking on Commons anytime to make those connections. Have a great, here you go.
Perfect, thank you. It is my hope that during the next 2 days, you'll take the opportunity to connect, be inspired, and grow your professional practice through all that the conference has to offer. So enjoy your conference, and thank you so much for this morning.